Welcome to Reddit Confessions.
I installed the cameras that caught my wife cheating, every pixel of it. That line's been running through my head like a bad joke ever since. The contract was routine. 12 floors of a corporate high-rise in downtown Dallas, new surveillance system, upgraded servers, remote access. Nothing out of the ordinary for me. I'd done this kind of job 100 times. But this one had a personal angle. My wife, Samantha, worked there, floor 12, marketing. The building was glass and steel, humming with fluorescent light. Cold, impersonal. Every sound echoed. It was the kind of place where you could disappear in plain sight. Perfect for security, perfect for secrets. I spent a week running cables through ceiling tiles, replacing old dome cameras with sharp 4K eyes. Every corridor, every break room, every shadow in the underground garage. By the time I was done, the building could see everything. The funny part? Samantha had been the one to mention the upgrade. "They're finally replacing those dinosaur cameras," she'd said over dinner, swirling her wine. "Maybe now I won't feel so creeped out leaving late." I'd smiled. "Don't worry. I'll make sure you're safe." She kissed me across the table. A soft smile, sweet as ever. But I'd noticed, her phone face down beside her plate, buzzing twice, ignored. A habit she'd picked up in the last few months. By Friday, the system was live. I ran final diagnostics from the security office in the basement. Rows of monitors flickered with angles of glass walls, desks, empty conference rooms. Orderly, sterile. But one thing about security, once you start watching, you see more than you ever wanted to. That night, around 11:30, I was still at the office, reviewing playback. Just making sure everything was syncing properly. My coffee had gone cold beside me. That's when I saw her. Samantha, walking into the break room. Not alone. And that's where the footage froze under my hand. And then I saw her on the footage, not alone. Her laugh hit me first. Not the polite one she used at parties, not the forced one she gave my mother when they talked about grandkids. This was her real laugh. The one I hadn't heard in months. The camera caught her in perfect clarity. Samantha leaning against the break room counter, her blouse slightly undone, her head tilted back. And then, Derek Fields stepped into frame. Derek, mid-level manager, married, 2 kids, the kind of guy who called everyone champ and thought he was charming. I'd shaken his hand once at a Christmas party. He had a grip like a salesman and eyes that didn't stay on mine for long. Now those same eyes were fixed on my wife. He set 2 mugs on the counter, too close to her. Their shoulders brushed. She didn't move away. Instead, she smirked, slow, deliberate, like the cameras weren't even there. I zoomed in. 4K resolution is merciless. Every detail sharp as glass. Her lipstick smudged, his tie loosened. Derek said something I couldn't hear. Samantha's hand went to his chest, resting there for just a second too long. Then she whispered back. He leaned closer. And then the kiss. Soft at first, testing. Then hungry. His hand tangled in her hair, hers clutching his shirt. Like they'd done this before. Like it was routine. I froze the screen. My breath stuck in my throat. The smirk on her face, the one she wore right after pulling away, lips still red, eyes half closed. That was the moment I stopped loving her. Not because she cheated, not even because she chose him, but because she looked happy. Happier than she'd looked with me in years. I sat there, staring at the screen, my hand trembling on the mouse. I wanted to tell myself it was a one-time mistake. Office stress. Too much wine at some after-hours mixer. But then Derek leaned back against the counter, laughing, brushing her cheek with his thumb like it was his right. And Samantha? Samantha glanced toward the door, then back at him, biting her lip. Calculated. Controlled. She knew exactly what she was doing. I rewound. Watched it again. Slower. Looking for hesitation, guilt, something. Nothing. Just desire and ease, like they belonged there. And that's when I understood. This wasn't new. This wasn't the first time. And it damn sure wouldn't be the last. That smirk on her face? That was the moment I stopped loving her. I didn't confront her that night. I didn't storm home, slam the laptop shut, or scream at her the way a normal husband might. No, I'm not built like that. I don't do impulse. I do data. So instead of rage, I opened a new window and wrote a script, something that would silently copy every second of footage onto a hidden drive. A backup no one knew about. Not IT. Not the building manager, not even the CFO who signed my checks. From that night on, every touch, every kiss, every betrayal, mine. The next morning at breakfast, Samantha was radiant. Hair still damp from her shower, perfume faint on her skin. She sat across from me, sipping her coffee, scrolling her phone like nothing was different. "Big day today," she said casually. "We've got that campaign pitch with Derek." Her lips wrapped around his name like it tasted sweet. I stirred sugar into my mug, watching the swirl dissolve. "Good luck," I said. She smiled. Too wide, too bright. A performance. And maybe that's what twisted the knife deeper. The fact she still thought she could fool me. That evening, while she texted in the kitchen, I sat in my office and pulled up the hidden files. The camera on floor 12 didn't just catch them in the break room. It caught them in the conference room, the supply closet, even the parking garage, when they thought no one was watching. Their routine was clockwork. Late nights, strategic pauses, glances that turned into touches. By the end of the week, I had hours of evidence. Hours. And here's the thing. I didn't feel broken anymore. I felt awake. Every smile she gave me, every fake excuse, every late-night strategy session, all of it turned into data points. Pieces of a puzzle she thought she was clever enough to hide. But what she didn't know is that I'd been quietly collecting. And once I had enough, I knew exactly who deserved to see it first. Derek's wife. Derek's wife deserves to see this too. Her name was Lena Fields. I'd seen her once, years ago, at a company holiday party. Derek's wife. Brunette. Sharp eyes. The kind of woman who didn't miss much. She'd sat beside him at the dinner table, polite smile plastered on her face while he made the rounds, laughing too loudly, drinking too much. Back then, I thought she looked tired. Now, I wondered if she already knew. It took me 20 minutes to create a burner email. Proton Mail, VPN, everything scrubbed. I attached 3 clips, short but damning. Samantha and Derek in the break room. The garage kiss. The supply closet door slamming shut with a giggle on the other side. Subject line. "Your husband works late, huh?" No signature. Just timestamps, dates, proof. I hovered over the send button longer than I'd like to admit. Once I clicked it, there was no taking it back. But then I remembered Samantha's smirk. Click. Sent. 2 hours later, my phone buzzed. Not with a reply. Not with a thank you. Something else. A notification from the parking garage camera feed. Motion alert. 11:47 p.m. I pulled it up. And there it was. Derek's shiny black Lexus. Keyed from bumper to headlight in one clean, furious strike. The woman holding the keys? Lena. Hair pulled back, eyes blazing. No hesitation. No fear. She looked around once, then spit on the hood before walking back to her SUV. Morning after Lena carved her fury into Derek's Lexus, Samantha floated into our kitchen like nothing in the world could touch her. She was glowing. She kissed me on the cheek, humming some pop song under her breath, and poured herself coffee. No rush. No guilt. Just that infuriating brightness people wear when they think they've gotten away with something. "How'd you sleep?" she asked, leaning against the counter. "Fine," I said. She smiled. That smile. The one that used to melt me when we first met. Now it looked like a mask, plastered on too perfectly. She stirred sugar into her cup, tapping the spoon like a metronome. "Big meeting today. Derek wants me to take the lead on a presentation." Her eyes flicked toward me, gauging, testing. I kept my voice even. "You'll do great." Her lips curved higher, proud, satisfied. She thought she'd fooled me. She thought her secret life was airtight. She wrapped her arms around my neck, kissed me long and slow, like a wife who loved her husband. And I kissed her back, but not out of love. I kissed her the way you kiss someone goodbye before they step off a cliff. She pulled away, smiling like she'd just won. "You're the best, Ethan. Always supporting me." I nodded. Always. Inside, I was already dismantling her entire world, one calculated step at a time. I kissed her back, like a goodbye. The beauty of working in IT is that no one really looks too closely at your paperwork. They just assume the jargon means something important. So when I submitted my final invoice for the building's surveillance upgrade, I slipped in one extra line item. Just 4 words. Infidelity monitoring and surveillance. For $1,800. I added it right under server redundancy configuration, buried in the middle, like a landmine waiting to go off. The next morning, the CFO flagged it. I knew he would. Finance guys are trained to spot anomalies like bloodhounds. I got the email around 9:12 a.m. Ethan, could you clarify this line? Infidelity monitoring. I wrote back one sentence. Everything is documented. Would you like a sample? 10 minutes later, I got the payment confirmation. No more questions. That told me two things. One, they'd seen enough to know I wasn't bluffing. Two, they had no idea how much I actually had. The office was buzzing that day. Derek stormed through the halls, red-faced, barking orders at people like they'd wronged him personally. Samantha walked behind him, all soft concern, touching his arm like she was his savior. And me? I sat at home, laptop open, sipping coffee, watching it all unfold on the live feeds. They thought the walls around them were solid glass. But every wall in that building belonged to me now. And I wasn't done billing them yet. They paid it without question. The first sound was glass breaking. It came from Derek's suburban house in Plano, a clean two-story with trimmed hedges and a basketball hoop over the garage. The cameras didn't reach that far, but word traveled fast when neighbors called the cops about a domestic disturbance. I didn't need cameras to know what it was about. Through whispers, I pieced it together. Lena had waited until the kids were asleep. She'd poured herself a drink, sat Derek down, and played the clips I'd sent. Every second of him with Samantha in high definition. Neighbors later said they heard yelling, furniture scraping. At one point, Lena's voice cutting through the walls like a blade. How long, Derek? And then Derek's deeper rumble, weak, defensive, the sound of a man caught without an alibi. By midnight, Derek was gone. He checked into a Marriott 3 exits down the freeway. His Lexus still bore the scar of Lena's keys, parked crooked under a flickering street lamp. And while he unpacked a duffel bag in a sterile hotel room, his phone buzzed. A message from Samantha. Sam, what's wrong? You've been quiet all night. I watched him stare at the screen, glass of whiskey in hand, shoulders sagging. He typed, deleted, typed again, but he didn't reply. Not yet. Samantha texts him, what's wrong? Sometimes the best bait is no bait at all. I left my laptop open on the kitchen table. Not hidden, not locked, just there. Screen glowing. Paused on a single frame of footage. Samantha in the breakroom, Derek's hand on her waist, her lips parted. Then I went upstairs, sat on the bed, waited. It didn't take long. Her heels clicked across the hardwood, the faint clink of her jewelry as she set her purse down. I heard the fridge open, a bottle cap twist, then silence. Too much silence. The kind that swells when someone's staring at something they shouldn't. A chair scraped. A sharp inhale. Ethan. Her voice cracked, brittle, like ice about to shatter. I didn't answer. She climbed the stairs slower than usual. Every step heavy, hesitant. When she reached the doorway, her face was ghost white. Her eyes darted to mine, searching for anger, for rage, for anything she could prepare for. Instead, I just looked at her. Calm. Silent. She opened her mouth, closed it, tried again. We need to talk. Her voice was barely a whisper. I stood, brushing past her without a word, leaving her alone in the doorway, staring at the ghost of herself on my screen. She cornered me in the living room. Hair tied back, face stripped bare of makeup, like she thought looking real would help her case. Her hands trembled, but her voice came sharp, desperate. Ethan, please. It's not what you think. I leaned back in the armchair, arms crossed, watching her unravel. Really? I said quietly. Because what I think is pretty clear on video. Tears welled instantly. The kind of tears that used to melt me, back when I still believed they were honest. Now they look like stage props. She dropped to the couch across from me, leaning forward. It was stupid. A mistake. It didn't mean anything. I raised an eyebrow. You've been making the same mistake for months. Her jaw tightened. She wasn't used to me cutting straight through her lines. I love you, she said, voice shaking. I do. It's just, Derek makes me feel noticed. There it was. The confession dressed as an excuse. I didn't yell, didn't throw anything. I just let the silence hang until she squirmed under it. Finally, I stood. She reached for my hand, but I pulled it away. You'll be hearing from HR, I said, my voice flat as steel. Her eyes widened. What? Ethan, wait. What do you mean by that? But I didn't answer. I walked out, leaving her clutching her knees, breathless, terrified not of losing me, but of losing her job. Corporate gossip spreads faster than any virus. By Monday morning, Derek's office door was shut, blinds drawn. The rumor mill said he'd been suspended pending investigation. Nobody knew why, not officially, but the smirks in the break room told me enough. People had seen the footage. Or at least, somebody had made sure whispers of it leaked. I didn't send it. Not directly. But in IT, once a file exists in the right folder, it finds its way into curious hands. And I had made sure those files existed. By lunch, everyone was talking. HR had been calling employees into discreet meetings all morning. Derek's chair sat empty in the cafeteria. His nameplate was gone from the reserved parking spot. And Samantha? She walked the halls like a shadow of herself. Head down, smile brittle. The woman who once thrived on attention now avoided it like fire. She sat alone at her desk, refreshing her email, waiting for the axe to fall. When the phone on her desk finally rang, she jumped, listened, nodded, gathered her things. Then she stood, trying to look composed while everyone pretended not to watch her cross the floor toward the corner office marked Human Resources, Confidential. The door closed behind her, and with it, her career. The office conference room was sterile. Frosted glass walls. Neutral carpet. The kind of space designed to make confessions feel inevitable. Samantha sat at the long table, hands clasped tight, her smile flickering on and off like a faulty light bulb. Across from her, two HR reps flipped open files. One of them cleared his throat. Samantha, thank you for coming in. We need to discuss a potential violation of company conduct. Her voice broke on the first syllable. Violation? I don't understand. The man slid a folder toward her. Inside, printed still frames. Her lips on Derek's. His hand on her thigh. A timestamp in the corner of every shot. Her hand flew to her mouth. Oh my God. The woman from HR leaned forward, calm but firm. Do you want to explain this? Samantha's eyes darted between them, frantic, searching for an escape hatch. It's not. Who gave you this? She turned to the door, as if I might be standing there. That's when she asked the question I'd been waiting for. You recorded me? And in that moment, I almost wished I was in the room, just to see her face when the truth landed. But I wasn't. So I whispered it to myself, watching from a distance through the feeds I controlled. No, you recorded yourself. It was a Tuesday, lunch hour, the building lobby buzzing with employees heading out for sandwiches and salads. Samantha walked through the glass doors in a beige blazer, trying to project composure she didn't have anymore. That's when the process server stepped forward. Suit crisp, folder in hand. Mrs. Cole. She blinked. Yes. He handed her the envelope. You've been served. The words hung in the air like a gunshot. Every head in the lobby turned. Someone actually gasped. Papers in her hands. Samantha froze, her face drained of all color. The envelope slipped, pages spilling across the marble floor. Petition for divorce. Grounds. Infidelity. Phones came out. Screens lit up. Her coworkers pretended to check messages while they angled their cameras just enough. Samantha dropped to her knees, fumbling, trying to scoop the papers up, but her hands shook too hard. Murmurs spread like wildfire. That's his wife. Damn, right here at work. Did you see the look on her face? Her breath hitched. She clutched the papers to her chest, then bolted past the revolving doors, heels striking too fast against the sidewalk. She didn't make it far. A woman from accounting swore she saw Samantha duck into the restroom on the mezzanine. And that's where she stayed, locked in a bathroom stall, crying. By the end of the week, Derek was gone, suspended indefinitely. Samantha was a ghost in the building, her once bright reputation reduced to whispered jokes in break rooms. And me? I sent one last bill. This one was cleaner, sharper. Just 2 lines. Data cleanup and extraction, $7,500. No charge for emotional labor. I sent it straight to the CFO's inbox, no explanation. A gamble, maybe, but after what they'd seen already, I figured they'd understand the subtext. The reply came faster than I expected. Payment confirmation. And beneath it, one line typed in bold, like he couldn't resist. Consider it hazard pay, smiley face. That was it. No questions. No meetings. Just quiet acknowledgement that sometimes corporate budgets had to cover more than firewalls and camera feeds. I sat back in my chair, staring at that little smiley face. Cold. Perfect. Like the universe itself had decided to join in on the joke. For the first time in weeks, I laughed. Not bitter. Not broken. Just clean. The email came late Friday night. No subject line. Just a single sentence. Coffee. My treat. The sender, Lena Fields. I almost didn't go, but curiosity won. We met at a quiet cafe on the outskirts of Dallas, far enough from the corporate towers that no one would recognize us. She was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table with a black coffee, no cream, no sugar. She looked steady, not broken, not fragile, just sharp, like glass that had been shattered and reassembled into something even harder. Ethan, she said, standing to shake my hand. Her grip was firm. Thank you for telling me the truth. I nodded. I figured you deserved to know. She studied me for a moment, her dark eyes narrowing. You didn't just send me the truth. You sent me power. You knew exactly what I'd do with it. I almost smiled. Maybe. She leaned back, crossing her arms. I keyed his car. Kicked him out. Filed for separation yesterday. Good, I said. He doesn't deserve you. Her mouth quirked at that. For a moment, the steel softened. She actually laughed. You ever think about changing careers? She asked, smirking over her cup. Because I'd hire you in a heartbeat. I raised an eyebrow. What kind of work? Exposure, she said simply. The truth business. And for the first time, I realized maybe I already had. Dallas became too small for me. Too many ghosts in glass towers. Too many sideways glances from people who'd heard the rumors but didn't know the half of it. Samantha's name was a punchline now. Derek's, a cautionary tale. Lena? She was rebuilding, sharper than ever. And me? I was done. I packed my apartment in a single day. No goodbyes. No explanations. Just contracts, hard drives, and a suitcase. A week later, I was 3 states away, signing the lease on a modest office downtown. Clean walls, empty desks, the smell of fresh paint. I put the nameplate on the door myself. Cole Surveillance and Integrity Solutions. The irony wasn't lost on me. My wife had thought she was untouchable, living 2 lives under fluorescent lights. Derek thought he was too slick to ever get caught. But cameras don't lie. Data doesn't flinch. And me? I'd built a business out of both. When the first client walked through my door, a nervous-looking CEO clutching a file folder, I shook his hand with steady confidence. Because sometimes revenge isn't about fire or fury. Sometimes it's just good business.